Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Fatin Najia and you can just call me Miss Fatin. For today's lecture, we're going to learn about topic second source of Shariah, which is the saying and doings of Prophet Muhammad Hadith. There are 10 students in this class. So we will going to learn about the topic. Hadith was known as a news that contained the saying or tradition of the Prophet Muhammad SAW to be used for the Muslim as a major source of religious law and moral guidance. Hadith is divided into two categories. Firstly is continuous hadith, which is mutasil, and discontinuous hadith, which is ghairul mutasil or musal. So let's move on to the next slide. There will be 3 students will be presenting to the next slide, which is categories of hadith.
So there is two categories of hadith, continuous hadith and discontinuous hadith. Under continuous hadith, there is hadith mutawatir, hadith masyhur and hadith ahad. For discontinuous hadith, there is hadith mursal, hadith mudhal and hadith munqati. I will explain about hadith mutawatir first. So hadith mutawatir is hadith narrated by many hadith narrator and they can lie while the chain of transmission continues from the beginning of isnad to the Prophet ﷺ. Therefore, hadith mutawatir brings a strong conviction. But mutawatir practices include the 5 daily prayers, fasting, zakat, hajj and Quran recitation. For hadith masyhur, we call it a famous hadith. It's a hadith that has been recorded by more than 2 reporters. According to some scholars, every widely known narrative, regardless of its authenticity, is referred to as masyhur. It may be reported by only 1 or 2 reporters at first, but it becomes generally recognized afterwards. That's all for me.
Now I would like to talk about ahad. Ahad also known as khabar al-wahid. This hadith reported by a single person or by individual from the Prophet of Muhammad. It also a piece of a news that does not have enough condition to make it a mutawatir news, even though there are many narrators. Now let's move to the discontinuous hadith, which is mursal. Mursal is defined as a hadith which a successor has directly attributed to the Prophet of Muhammad without mentioning the last link. There are 2 conditions that have been said, namely condition for the narrator and for the narration. That's all for me.
Next, discontinuous hadith, a mubdal. The definition from Imam al-Baikuni, which is what is dropped from the change of 2 narrators and above consecutively, whether it is dropped at the beginning and end of the change. Mubdal is da'if, even worse than mursal hadith. Next is munqati. It is one of type of hadith that involve the change of an al-hadith, whether it is continuous or not. This hadith is da'if because the change of transmission is broken and the condition of the deceased narrator is unknown, whether it is acceptable or not.
So let's move on to the next slide, which is variety of Sunnah. There will be 3 students representing.
For the variety of Sunnah, there are 2 types of variety. First is Sunnah Tasriyah. Sunnah Tasriyah, also known as the legal Sunnah. This variety of Sunnah may be divided into 3 types, namely the Sunnah which the Prophet laid down in his capacity as Messenger of God, as the head of the state, and his capacity as a judge. The second one is the Sunnah Khair Tasriyah, also known as the non-legal Sunnah. The non-legal Sunnah mainly consists of the ritual activities of the Prophet, such as the manner how he eat, sleep, dress, and such other activities as do not seek to constitute a part of Shariah. There is a certain matter which are peculiar to the person of the Prophet, so that his example concerning them does not constitute general law. That's all for me.
I will continue the next part. According to the authority, the Sunnah classified into 4 types. For the first is Hadith Qudsi. Hadith Qudsi are the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad as revealed him by the Almighty Allah. Their authority is traced back not to Prophet but to the Almighty. For the next is Hadith Marfu. Hadith Marfu is Hadith that based on the Prophet Muhammad, whether from the point of view of words, action, pledges, and also the nature of the Prophet Muhammad. Hadith Marfu had divided into two parts, which is Al-Marfu as-Sarih and Al-Marfu as-Hukmi. For the lower of the Hadith Marfu can be Sahih, Hasan, weak or Mauduk, depends on the chain of transmission. That's all for me.
Now I want to talk about Hadith al-Mawquf and Hadith al-Maktub. Hadith al-Mawquf is a hadith which is related to the companions of the Prophet in terms of words, actions, and its sanad is not related or connected to the Prophet. Sahaba or companions are each people who met the Prophet, believe in him, and pass away while believing in God. And then Hadith al-Maktub refers to hadiths that are based on tabi'in only, whether words or deeds, without being linked to companions or prophet. This hadith maktub has divided into two parts, which are maktub qawli and maktub fi'li. That's all for me.
So let's move on to the next slide, which is solution to stop false hadith. There will be two students presenting about this topic.
Solution to stop false hadith. Spread to public the valid hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam along with the translation. It is because most people are blind to all hadith due to the books in question, mostly in Arabic. The method can help the community to reconnect themselves with hadith they have published regularly according to the principle of hadith. That's all for me. Next to Aisha.
So I will continue with the solution. To hold informational meetings and Friday sermon that are specific about the badness of hadith mawaduk from time to time can also help the community to distinguish authentic hadith and fake hadith that has been spread. The Friday sermon that are read every Friday need to be monitored so that the following sermon are delivered by preachers or imam free from hadith mawaduk, so as not to spread false hadith to the people who come to hear the sermon. So next part we continue with Shazila.
So next point is Malaysian Ministry of Education need to censor all books published by school or any place like religious study that publish hadith. Books that are published should have the correct hadith so that the community can know and practice the hadith properly. This can prevent false hadith from spreading to new generation. I think this all for solution.
Miss, I will make a summary about this topic, which is the saying and doing of Prophet Muhammad, hadith. This is a conclusion. Hadiths provide various benefits to all Muslims if they properly observe them in life. The widespread dissemination of hadiths had a negative effect on the universal Islamic people. Superstitious belief in the hadith that is spread will distort individual belief and understanding. Lastly, hadiths need to be seen from various aspects, including transmission of the chain and who is the narrator who stated the hadith. There are many ways that we can prevent this from happening, which is Muslim must obey and follow all the practices contained in the hadith in order to obtain the blessing and abundance of the mercy of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala in this world and also in the hereafter. Thank you.
Thank you guys for today's. I hope you guys will understand about this topic well.